I'm Jeremy Debattista. I work at the Lab Center. I'm an Irish Research Council fellow. So I would like to present some results from actually Lucy's survey, but more focused on the quality of linked data set sources and how people in digital libraries use them or the problems they find. So the first thing I would like to ask you, just take 5 seconds. So what is a good digital library for you? Just think it in your mind. I'm pretty sure that everyone has his idea of what a good digital library is, but most literature states that the success of digital libraries is mostly dependent on the quality of available metadata. Most probably there are a lot of librarians here. They can confirm or agree or disagree with this statement. It's what the literature states. I'm not a librarian myself, but I just started working with librarians these past 1.5 years, and I must say I was impressed. And it was really an interesting journey coming from a knowledge graph and linked data sites to learn more about how collections and digital artifacts are being stored and preserved, like Joe was mentioning before. But anyway, so yeah, so most literature say that the success of digital libraries depends on the quality of metadata. However, this is quite ambiguous. Defining quality is subjective, and it also mostly depends on the task at hand. So, for example, this is the case where different institutions, different libraries, have different needs, which is mostly coupled with information professionals' experiences and roles. That is potentially an easy question to answer. However, we cannot really generalize this question or the answer to this question to all libraries that exist. Different libraries would have different ideas, different needs. So, yeah, I will talk a bit about linked data and digital libraries. So, why am I mentioning linked data? Information professional realized that linked data offers many benefits, which I agree with them, of course. I'm a bit biased about this. So basically, the first benefit is that in linked data we use a standardized model, and therefore the sharing and reuse of metadata across digital libraries potentially reduce the record duplication. So, for example, what Joe was mentioning earlier, if what they built has also a linked data interface, it could be used, for example, at Europeana, where they can link and reuse the stuff that the libraries here the librarians here in the city are building this whole collection, about 120,000 data instances. So they can be reused in other digital library collections. So that's also a second benefit to data interlinking. There's also the benefit of discoverability by various stages. So for example, if we use embedded RDFA in HTML, this would enable search engines such as Google to retrieve your data in a more meaningful manner. It means that basically the search engines would understand what your data is, so they would understand who was the author. They might even get more information about the author. So, for example, Google has this kind of side panel which say, oh yeah, if you're looking for Oscar Wilde, this is where he was born, this is his picture, his wife, his children, etc. Okay, so why is this law of taking linked data? So, first of all, linked data is not a solution to solve all problems. And we have a lot of challenges in linked data in different areas in computer science. So mostly in linked data, we find problems related to quality. So the aim of this study that we wanted to do with Lucy, or the survey, was first to understand what kind of quality measures information professionals consider to be important, and secondly, what are the problems they face when they are using linked data. So for the first aim, we wanted to build a system, or we actually built a system that automatically suggests what quality measures one needs for a particular task in hand. So this is basically what I will be demoing later on, and I will ask you guys to help me in an evaluation study. And secondly, we wanted to figure out what kind of quality issues these information professionals are encountering when they are using linked data sources. So, for example, we did assess a number of digital library sources, linked data digital library sources, and you will find out that your favorite go-to Library of Congress dataset won't rank first, or might not even rank at all when you choose different quality measures, because, yeah, surprise, surprise, the Library of Congress is probably the most one used because it's trusted by word of mouth, but doesn't mean it has good quality. So I won't go.
You got to start a fight here.
Yeah, so I will go through the methodology, and I only have 5 minutes left. And so basically, I would highlight these two papers where we discuss the results on quality and other questions Luz was asking. So for the qualitative part, we asked two questions. So first of all, the first question was, when completing different metadata tasks, what evaluation criteria do you apply when using or searching for external data sources? So this is mainly related to when you're trying to interlink your digital resources, your in-house resources, with external resources. And the second question was, can you give an example of or examples of data quality issues or concerns you experience frequently when using these data sources? So basically, these questions were more targeted towards those information professionals that are already using linked data. I will start with the second question, because I might not have enough time for the first one. So yeah, the goal of the second question was to survey, was to understand better the quality problems, as I mentioned, and hence why these might be contributing to the slow uptake of linked data and digital libraries. So this was an open question, and was answered by 92 participants, more or less. 15 answers were out of scope. So, and the rest of the answers, 77, I think, yeah, were classified in 14 different measures, including semantic accuracy, completeness, and conciseness. So, yeah, most problems were intrinsic in nature, meaning that the problems were related to the data in the dataset itself. So, for example, completeness or synthetic validity or data formatting. And these were followed by representational problems, so meaning how the data is actually represented for consumption. So, for example, language versatility, the use of strange encodings in the data set itself. So I won't go through all the problems, but I will mention some interesting ones. So, for example, in semantic accuracy, most of the participants complained that they found incorrect values in various fields, mostly due to misspellings. And the completeness, for completeness problems, participants shared doubt whether crowdsourced efforts such as the Wikipedia are correct and complete. So the Wikipedia is basically a linked data version of Wikipedia. So we all know Wikipedia is a crowdsourced effort. And furthermore, the participants highlighted that datasets are still using old best practices and standards, and hence in these digital linked data sources we are finding incomplete fields such as the publication date. Okay, so with regard to interoperability, participants noted that there was a lack of consensus on what standards to use, and even when there seemed to be an agreement, the formats are consistently changing. So I was having a discussion with one of your colleagues in Trinity College Library, and I also felt that there is no such a consensus between different digital libraries on one particular metadata format, which makes it really difficult in technologies such as linked data, because then it doesn't really make sense to use different standards, because agents won't be able to understand what the data actually means. So on similar lines to interoperability, participants also noted that there were inconsistency on how to represent data within fields, for example, dates and naming standards. So there were other problems highlighted, for example, duplication of records, encoding of characters, availability of online services, trustworthiness of the data set itself. So, for example, there was one participant who said, I only trust data if this is published by my own institute, which doesn't really make sense in a linked data sense. There was also issues about licensing. Some data sets are there are no license. If there is no license, we don't know if we can use it freely or not. Okay, quickly, if I get 2 more minutes?
2 minutes.
2 more minutes? Okay, yeah. So, basically the first question was to ask the participants what are their quality measure considerations when they are completing tasks, for example, interlinking with the metadata. So the goal was actually to try to understand what fitness for use means to participants in different groups in digital libraries. So basically we had a group of digital library experts handling data, were experts in both digital libraries handling data, and we had a group of people who were less of experts in digital libraries but more linked data experts. So we provided the participants a list of measures taken from various literature, trying to represent the most important quality measures in both digital libraries and linked data. So these included trustworthiness, interoperability, and so on and so forth. So all participants actually answered this question. We had 16 of these participants who were unsure or didn't really care about quality at all. We also had 9 participants that mentioned dimensions or quality measures that we didn't think about or we forgot to list them in the survey, and we marked those at the end in italics and in brackets. So basically the aggregated results show that trustworthiness seems to be the most frequently selected criteria. So that was around 67%, followed by interoperability and licensing issues. However, we cannot really assume, we cannot really statistically or scientifically state that trustworthiness is the most important criteria, as we cannot assume the participant chose on the basis of what is the most important. So basically we gave them a checklist rather than asking them, okay, which is the first most important, second. So that was a bit also our fault that we didn't do that.